Morning peeps, good morning everyone. All right, let's get into this video. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Don't forget as well to like and share the videos. Thank you so much to everyone that is doing that. Let's have a quick gulp of this. That's nice. Oh, really does kickstart my day. I don't know how that started to be a thing, but it is a thing now. By the way, new mic set up. We're not using it now. We're still using the old one. I was just playing about with it. There's still one bit I need for it to work, but I just set up on the table. Good, right? Look how I just in and out. So very excited about that. This is really overkill. I can't lie to you. If you are setting up a channel, YouTube channel, whatever, start off with what I've done. A cheap mic, a very cheap mic. I'll repeat it because I want people to like buy it basically. A Boya M1. It's really cheap, 15 quid, plugs into your phone. I've even bought a new digital camera, which is over there getting charged up. Again, overkill. You don't really need it. I've done it just because I want the channel to look a bit different. But I use my old phone. Like I'm using my Samsung S8 to record and the Boya M1 and a cheap light. So don't waste money yet on things like this. Not yet. Because this and the stand it's on was nearly 500 quid. This was 15 quid. 15 quid all the way. All right, what's going on with this Joshua Fury thing? What's going on? You know what it is? I've not spoken about Joshua Fury for a couple of weeks, I don't think, just because kind of tired of it. Kind of tired of it. And I feel like I'm just repeating myself. But at the same time, we are talking about one of the biggest fights of the last 10, 15 years. We are talking about the biggest fight in British boxing history. We are talking about all the belts on the line. So as much as it does frustrate me, as much as it does frustrate you, I think we do need to discuss where we are with it. Now, Frank Warren was on TalkSport yesterday, and I think he was almost basically saying that they haven't been offered a site fee that kind of matches what the fighters want, right? So he's basically trying to say there's not enough. This is what I'm reading anyway, and you guys may be reading it slightly different. He's almost trying to tell me there's not enough pot of gold to satisfy both fighters. Now, if that's the situation, that's crazy. I'm not joking. That's crazy, especially considering that we are in a pandemic, right? I mean, everyone, even the richest people in the world, everyone's purse strings are a bit tighter. Everyone. So if both fighters don't have this fight because they don't get the money they want, then that's pretty sad. Honestly, that's pretty sad. And again, we don't know what money we're talking about here, but come on, man. It's easy for me to say, isn't it? It's easy for us to say at home, like, come on, just take the fucking fight. But yeah, so that's what Frank Warren's saying. Now, Frank Warren isn't going to try and sell you a dream that's not there. Well, he doesn't. He's not been selling this fight, to be fair, has he? He's been like, well, no, there's still a way to go. Eddie Hearn, on the opposite side, has been saying, no, you know, we've had several offers from different countries and we're basically going through them. So Eddie Hearn is almost making it as though we have received the site fee we want, but we've received it from a few different countries. I don't know who to believe in this. I don't know. Look, everyone wants this fight to happen. I think there is this kind of this thought that somehow Tyson Fury and John Fury don't want this fight to happen, and Frank doesn't want this fight to happen, and maybe AJ's a bit nervous of Fury, and Fury's a bit scared of AJ, and everyone, shut up. Everyone wants this fight to happen because it's that. It generates that, and everyone wants that, right? That is more important to people than most things. They all want this fight to happen, but it is a case of whether or not there's enough pot of gold, I think. That's what it seems like. Is there enough pot of gold? Or are the fighters being too greedy? Are they? Because the issue I think is as well, like apart from it happening in the Middle East, there's a problem if it happens anywhere else. And what I mean by this is, look, we know there's going to be 70,000 at the Canelo Billy Joe Saunders fight, right? So some people might say, why don't you just take it to America? 70,000. That's all well and good, but the majority of people that buy this fight on pay-per-view are going to be here in the UK. When I say the majority, I mean the majority. 85 to 90% of the people that buy the pay-per-view are going to be here. So you can't have it in America and us Brits wait up till 4 in the morning. You're going to lose a chunk of people, right? Yes, you'll get an American audience, so you lose a chunk of people. You'll make a lot on the gate, but not enough to satisfy both fighters. So you lose a chunk of people. So, and look, the majority of the money is going to come from the pay-per-view unless it's a massive site fee. You can't have it in the UK because you can't get 100,000 yet at Wembley. I do believe it's got to the stage where you don't make a massive site fee from Wembley, but I do believe if we were allowed to have 100,000, say, at Wembley, June, July, the fight could happen here. The fight could happen here, right? They lose a lot of money, but you make a hell of a lot of money on the pay-per-view because it's a perfect time, right? You put the fight on 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the evening, perfect. You get your 2.5 million pay-per-view buys. Even if you have to chuck the pay-per-view up at a higher price just to kind of make up the shortfall, you do it, right? I'm not advocating that, but you do it. You chuck it up to 40 quid, 45 quid. You still make those pay-per-view buys. 45 quid, I'm telling you now, people will still pay. I'm not saying that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. I don't want people to say, Ade, you're saying that shit because, once in a while you appear on Sky. Not the case. I'm just saying, if you're going to make a shortfall and the fight has to happen here, that's what you do. So really and truly, the Middle East is almost a perfect scenario, right? You get a massive site fee. The time difference isn't too bad. So if you have the fight over in the Middle East at 7, 8 o'clock, it's 9, 10 o'clock over here. So in terms of eyes on the prize, it still works. So Middle East is really where they want. But is the Middle East willing to put up such a crazy site fee during a pandemic? Are they? Doesn't seem like it. Eddie Hearn, a month ago, I haven't got the exact date, but Eddie Hearn a month ago said there's 28 days to sort this fight out. I'm pretty sure those 28 days are going or have gone. I mean, Tyson Fury tweeted, didn't he? I think he either tweeted or put on his Instagram, TikTok or something along those lines. John Fury's been very vocal about it. I will say though, John Fury's been very vocal. He's almost attacked Eddie Hearn. Like, this isn't just Eddie Hearn making this fight. I mean, this is Bob Arum as well. This is Frank. This is MTK Glow. There's a lot of people. As I always say, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. But he seems to be attacking Eddie Hearn and Sky as though it's their issue. It's their fault. It's not their fault. There's a lot of people involved in this. A lot of people. So I think everyone needs to get together. I did say this the other day. If Eddie, Frank and Bob can't make this fight with over 100 years together in a promotional game, if Sky, DAZN, ESPN can't make this fight, and look at the power that is. If MTK Global, we know the kind of power they got behind them, can't make this fight can't be made. This fight can't be made. I don't know. I've seen some articles where they're saying, we are now looking at fighters going in different directions for now, and then maybe something in December. That is a catastrophe. If that happens, then that's fucked up. Because look, let's be real. And this is why we've not made Joyce Usyk yet. By the way, everyone's kind of asking what's going on with Joyce Usyk. This is what's going on with Joyce Usyk. Usyk is waiting patiently for this to flop. Then he gets that massive payday and the opportunity to win nearly all the belts against AJ. He's waiting. So, yeah, right now, the thumbnail says when. I have no idea when. I have no idea. It's gone from me thinking this fight was going to happen in May to June to thinking, all right, it has to happen in July, or it does go like that. And Fury has a fight against someone, don't know who, and AJ has a fight against Usyk. You know, maybe Fury fights Dillian White, right? Dillian White deserves it, doesn't he? I mean, maybe Fury fights Dillian White for the WBC strap and AJ fights Usyk. I mean, I do that look because I can't guarantee that AJ and Fury both come through that easily. I mean, Fury, yeah. AJ Usyk? Not sure. Not sure. All right, let's not get too dispirited. We do have a fight this weekend, not on the same scale, obviously. Conor Benn versus Vargas. And they are really pushing this Shannon Courtney 6-1 versus Ebony Bridges 5-0, aren't they? I mean, good luck to them, right? We've been asking for female fights to be pushed a bit more. They are pushing it a bit more. I really hope this Ebony Bridges girl can fight. Because if she can, I love her personality, by the way. Absolutely love it. Like, forget the fact that she wears all this stuff at the weigh-in. I just love the way she talks. I think it's fantastic. She swears more than I do. I really hope she can fight. I really do. Nothing against Shannon Courtney. I know there's this thing about, oh, I hope Shannon Courtney gets knocked out. I don't think that and want that at all. Not at all. I just hope that Ebony Bridges can fight because I feel like female boxing does need that kind of star, doesn't it? I'm trying to think, does it have anyone like that? Can't think of it. I mean, there must be, but she definitely knows how to sell herself, and that's not a bad thing. That is not a bad thing. I remember when, and I hate to always bring it back to the UFC, but I remember when those girls as well used to, you know, dress up and just to kind of put themselves out there. And then when they got in the octagon, they fucking fought their asses out. And that's kind of what she's saying. She's like, okay, look, I'm trying to put as many eyes on the sport as possible, which she is doing. Now, if she goes in the ring and she's crap, it means nothing. It's like, ugh, but she's shit. If she goes in there and kicks ass and is really good, it works, right? Those people that all watched because of her looks and the way in which she talks will stay gripped to her because of the way she fights. It's a good sell if she's a good fighter. We will see. Zab Judah back, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, they both can fight. I feel like most boxers that are saying this have somehow been in the camp with these guys and got a bit of money. That's what, like Thingy said this as well. Shane Mosley, and then Shane Mosley was in the camp. Anything else before we pack up? Okay, a couple of things. Munguia, Golovkin is no longer the same, but it would be an honor to fight him. Yeah, Golovkin isn't the same. What's going on with Golovkin, by the way? I think it was his 39th birthday the other day. Still a massive shame for me with Golovkin. Just that you look around now, and this isn't discrediting the 160 and 168 guys then, but you look around now, because Andre Ward was kind of around then, although he did go up to light heavy. But now there's some real good names at 160. Well, I'll say real good names. Names to kind of make the resume look a bit thicker now. Then, when he was going through the Macklins, the Murrays, and all those kind of people, right? He doesn't get no credit for them. A lot of people say, oh, they were C-level or B-level fighters. You know, literally that Golovkin then, if we could kind of transform him into the Golovkin era of now, he would literally have so many A or B level fighters on his resume because he would destroy them all. Destroy them all. Shame. I don't know I have no idea what's going to happen. I don't know who he's fighting next. Again, maybe he's just waiting for that Canelo money then to sail off into the sunset. I don't think he's going to want to go in there with Munguia. I think he can beat Munguia. I still think there's enough in Golovkin to beat Munguia, but it's a tough fight, man. We saw him against Derevyanchenko. Munguia is kind of like that, isn't he? Just kind of march forward, can take a punch, can punch as well. Jaron Ennis versus Sergey Lipinets is this weekend. Jaron Ennis, he's got a crazy record. I think he's 25-0, 23 knockouts. I mean, I think it's fair to say he's the future of the welterweight division, maybe even the 154-pound division as well. That's the top of the food chain. That's what's out there. That's the next level. I just hope, and look, this is it now. He beats Lipinets, he should go. I mean, if he beats, let me have a quick look at his record just to make sure we are correct. Like, what are we waiting for in terms of putting him with a real name? Yeah, so he's 26-0, 24 knockouts. I mean, if he beats Lipinets and stops him, so it'll be what, 27-0, 25, go. I mean, that's an incredible record, and he should be there or thereabouts for a Sean Porter type, if Danny Garcia wants to stay around, or if he can get one of the big ones. Like Ugas that'll be a good matchup to see how that one plays out. And then obviously the bigger boys of the division, you know, the two kings of the division. So we'll see how he gets on, but good luck to Jaron Ennis. There is a lot of talk about him versus Virgil Ortiz later on down the line. I don't think that's going to happen as soon as we think or want it to happen, but we shall see. Chavez Jr. feels there is pressure, big pressure, to impress against Anderson Silva. There isn't no pressure. Stop it. Stop lying to yourself. We don't care about this fight. You're fighting a, 45-year-old MMA guy who is way past his best in a boxing ring. The only pressure, mate, is on the promoters for putting that crap on. What's everyone thinking about Conor Ben Vargas? Remember, we are doing a live watch along tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. I'm hoping that all my shit is set up, like all the equipment. It's not, mate, like, it's difficult, you know? Like, I'm not very tech savvy. And to set all this stuff up, because we're not going to be live streaming through the phone anymore, which literally is just a couple of buttons and you're live. I'm doing it through the mic and I've had to download some bloody software. Let's just hope I can get it correct. If not, we're just going to do it the old way. But fingers crossed we get it done, we get it sorted. Anything else? I can't wait for this fight. Erickson Lubin versus Rosario. Such a good fight. His coach here is saying that he expects that fight to be Hagler Mugabe. That was brutal, by the way. Brutal. Anything else? Mike Tyson here saying, I want Holyfield and I want Lennox Lewis this year. What is going on with these old geezers fighting? I mean, Cotto has said him versus Marquez is the fight that had to happen. Well, why didn't it happen then? It's weird. Strange. This is a fight, yeah, that for some reason, I still find it weird. I still find, police or ambulance. I still find it weird that I feel like Josh Taylor doesn't get the respect. And what I mean by this is that Josh Taylor obviously, look, is one fight away from cleaning up at 140. Normally, when you got a guy doing that at the weight class below, people are excited to see him go up a weight class, right? Oh, he cleaned up at 140. I can't wait to see him at 147. Like, no one's talking about Josh Taylor versus Errol Spence, Terrence Scott. No, like, it's not even a conversation. It's not, no. And I don't know why. I still feel like, do we not rate Josh Taylor as high as we should? Is he not ready for these? Because Josh Taylor's basically said, if Crawford is struggling for a dance partner, I'll do the tango, no problem. I love that line. And if I put it out there, and I've said this on numerous videos, Josh Taylor versus Crawford, everyone's like, nah. I'm like, this guy is going to be undisputed unified champ at 140. What do you mean, nah? But it is nah. Weird. Find it weird. Eubank Jr. I know the way to beat Canelo. Saunders does not. He will get KO'd. Eubank Jr., who's fighting, was it Morrison, right? 2 seconds. Let's have a quick look at this. I just want to get the guy's name correct. It is Morrison. Apologies. Yeah, Marcus Morrison. Eubank Jr., who's fighting Marcus Morrison in his comeback fight. Before that, Korobov. Before that, James DeGale. Although James DeGale then went on to retire. James DeGale was literally a shell of himself. It's saying that I know the way to beat Canelo because you've done what in the past and beat who? Dude, Billy Saunders is fighting Canelo. You're fighting Marcus Morrison and you're chirping. Okay. All right. Okay. I'd rather see Eubank Jr. versus Golovkin, if I'm honest with you. I think Canelo would embarrass Eubank Jr. Embarrass. Man's fighting Marcus Morrison next, you know, and he's still chirping. Still chirping. Your promoter wants to see you fight Kell Brook. Still chirping. All the fights that you could have had at 160, 168, you're fighting Marcus Morrison and you're saying, I know the way to beat Canelo. Okay. All right. I think we are done, humans. I think that's it. Don't be too dispirited about my news when it comes to Fury, AJ. Look, sometimes the biggest fights in the world take this long to make. I mean, Pac-Man, although it wasn't really negotiations that caused that issue, but Pac-Man and Floyd Mayweather took 5 years. 5 years to make. It's not 5 years yet, but it is frustrating. Peace.